then secondly, the second image we see here is there's a rod of iron. There's a rod. Now, a rod is actually, here's a couple of rods. A rod is actually a common tool used in the ancient world. Everybody had a rod. If you were traveling somewhere, you had a staff or a rod that you would lean on. It would be helpful. If a wild animal, a wild dog came out and tried to bite you or something, you could turn that thing and you could make it helpful in a different way, right? So it was a positive thing, and it was also a negative thing. Every traveler had a rod. Every shepherd had a rod. So here's a picture of a shepherd's rod. It's a normal stick, but the top has kind of a heavy knot to it that you can swing and get some momentum, and it would cause some damage. And so a king's rod could be used a shepherd's rod could be used in positive ways and in negative ways. Okay, that shepherd, if a wolf or something comes in to try to attack the sheep, or a thief maybe, he could pick that rod up and hold the knotted end at the end, and he could swing and bat away these wild animals coming after the sheep. It could be used in a positive way as well. In fact, there was a phrase that was commonly used in the ancient world about passing under the rod. The sheep would pass under the rod. So this is something that all the shepherds do. As they were bringing the sheep into their pen, the sheep would begin to funnel over, and the shepherd would use that rod to hold a sheep from moving forward. And as he stopped a sheep, he would check the fur, check the teeth, make sure there's no parasites, any growth, are there any signs of illness or jaundice or anything in the hooves? He would check the sheep to make sure it was healthy, and then once he was assured that it was healthy and things were good, it would use that rod to gently stroke it into the pen with the rest of the fold. And so the other one would come, and the sheep would pass under the shepherd's rod. In other words, when the shepherd is holding the rod, you can either see that in terror or in relief. If you're one of the sheep, you love it when the shepherd has his rod. If you're a wolf, it's a different story. You view that rod very differently. Furthermore, kings also had a rod, also known as a scepter, so staff, scepter, rod. These are all terms used somewhere interchangeably, the same Hebrew word often in many cases throughout Scripture. But the king would have this, and also it was positive, it was negative. The rod was a symbol of authority. Whoever has the rod is the one who is in authority. And so Jesus is coming with a rod of iron. And we can either be the plaintiff or we can be the defendant in this situation. The rod of iron means that he's a judge who brings evil into justice. He brings chaos into order. He turns wrongs into right. And as a king, he is responsible for what happens in his kingdom. So